I am the one who knocks. Holy moly, this was beyond my expectations. Kang vs Jinu was one of the fights that manga readers were waiting for, and it delivered. We get to see JinWoo's real Chad aura for the first time against a real opponent. Episode 9 adapted chapter 29 to chapter 34. I guess the fight between Kang and JinWoo will be adapted this episode, and I was right. Some stuff was cut and the environment was different. In the anime, it looked like a normal dungeon as usual, while in the manhwa, they really focused more on the goblin stuff, so the dungeon was more like a goblin den. They also cut stuff like with the prisoner freaking his death and literally fitting him to the boss, which was also cut. I know some manga readers is gonna be upset by that, but for me, it's I don't really care. Again, the anime is trying to make Jinwoo less heartless and cold, but to be honest, they literally harassed a child, so feed him to the Clash of Clan goblins. The gang reunited by hitting them with some more traumatic experience, and the death of him, I'm sorry, I forgot his name. And Mr. Kim, unfortunate. My hate for him is worn down. To be honest, I didn't really have that much hate from him. But I love when people hate on him for running away because he has a loving family. While most of us watching would do the same because we're a bunch of pussies. But yeah, sad to see him go. There is some more stuff that was cut, but I feel like it's gonna be in the next episode. Animation wise, it's amazing. Objectively, episode 4's action is still better. I mean, they literally had to animate a big ass snake. Also, Kano isn't here for an action packed episode, so he's probably cooking something for the next fight, if you know what I mean. I forgot you can't see my face, I was winking. And there's a big possibility that it's going to be the best one. This episode was directed and storyboarded by one of A1's ace animator and main animator for Solo Leveling, Hirotaka Tokuda, which also did storyboard the first episode, so there's many similarities. While in episode 1, Tokuda was restricted to a lot of exposition, but this episode, he had to flex on us, really showing his full potential as an action animator and storyboard artist, really using the camera and great framing work to its glory. Before the positives, there's some negatives. I do think the limited speedline cuts are a bit but it's not as bad as like in episode 6, and this episode felt a bit fast paced than usual. Anyways, back to the positives. The display of two really speedy characters was great. The storyboards and cuts really flow well together, having some very dynamic shots while also utilizing the camera movements. I feel like a good action animator slash storyboarder can really use the camera to its advantage. It can really make fights more impactful with subtle camera shakes rather than cutting away. Miso is someone who does it really well in his episodes. Take this first cut of the episode, the movements are fluid, but rather than cutting away, the camera swiped to the other guy, and the smears are so good too. While again in the first half of the fight was a bit limited, but I feel like most of the scenes did still move quite a bit. It doesn't feel janky because Tokuda's consistent camera work, really giving the impact in some of those strikes, and the speed is conveyed so well. Example with one of the first scenes in the episode that displays it with Hajime Nakagawa. His off-model design in a good way, and the detailed shading work is amazing, which was very similar with his other sequence in episode 3. The agile and bouncy movements was so well done. The thing I feel like they should play more with is with the eye and attack aura like from the manhwa. The blue and purple eyes from those two really make it look visually appealing in the manhwa. It's probably a pretty tedious task to do that because if the aura was digital, it won't look as good as hand-drawn effects, which again, pretty hard if you don't have a Sakuga animator to animate that part. And if they use digital effects when characters are moving fast around, then that probably won't work. They still played with the no pupil eyes and eye flares. I fucking love eye flares. That's one of the things I really like about Kuroko no Basket's visuals, but still, Takafumi Tori sequence is perfection. Starting off with Goku's iconic warm-up, RIP to the GOAT. Toru's fast action cuts with his snappy timing really sells it, accompanied with very colorful impact frames. Tokuda's action boards make it very dynamic, and some really nice perspectives with the character actually moving quite a lot. Again, the camera work is stellar, really capturing the speed of this fight and the sparks all over the place. The body language and character acting was really felt and fluid at the same time. Talking beside the action, the compositing and art direction is really good, really consistent with the whole episode. The dark shade of their faces to give that menacing vibe to it. Finally, we're in an area where the fight is not in fully blue lit dungeon. The digital effects are nice, some nice 2D effects and explosions by Kazunori Ozawa, a guy who is obsessed with explosion animation or just effects. Thanks to Tokudo inviting Ozawa to this project, we get to see some really nice effects animation. So much layers to the effects as usual for Ozawa's sequence. They really played with some style changes that can really give more emotion to the scene and visually explaining it. They fixed one of the issues about the compositing, which was the overly textured backgrounds. This episode had a lot of background animation and all of them were way better composited. Like of course with presumably Kotamori sequence, the crazy background animation with some very dynamic shots. Again, the storyboards is so good. First we zoom into the eye showing us the murder's intent thing, then zooming out from the eye with this purple aura thing, seamlessly transition to water, so smooth. And the Kagenashi, very monochrome color rather than someone standing under something with no shadows. It's more so to visualize Jinwoo's domain expansion. And again, the perspective shot, this really reminds me of that scene where clone Yubil using Soul Gunir. But one of the best things about this episode was the consistent on-model drawings. When Tomoko Sudo is the chief animation director for an episode, it's going to have the best drawing wise. Or if Kano did a lot of stuff like in episode 4. Most of the time they have more of a pointy jawline and the face is shorter, not like tall compared to the last episode, which can look a bit meh at times. It's probably because Tokudo was the chief animation director also for this episode, and maybe most of the animators were basing the drawing from Tokudo's storyboards. But when the scene needs that oomph, Tomoko Sudo does some of the best corrections in the series, which makes sense because she's the fucking character designer, and make it really look like the manhwa style with good compositing and colors, especially this shot. God damn. I feel like Sudo's corrections make some of the characters, especially Jinwoo's, look more mature. Yes, jawlines can make the appearance of a character more young or old, and Junhei. Music-wise, of course, Sawano killed it. Although I really hope for the next fight, Sawano will provide the team with more new soundtracks. Jinwoo's probably like a mid-tier B rank right now. He didn't get any level ups by killing Kang, but he did get some new skills and points. His abilities does make him a stronger B rank, with also his broken dagger, the system helping him, and the plethora of skills under his belt, and the shop stuff we haven't explored yet. If you drink a love potion, do you love yourself more? People might differ about the adaptation, but I think the anime is doing a way better job than the manhwa, at least. I don't know about the novel. Does the anime surpass the manhwa visuals? No. Solo living chapters can take weeks depending on how many pages they are, but if you add that to an anime episode where you need 100 times more drawings compared to a manhwa chapter, that's not gonna happen. Flushing more of these side characters so that you actually care more about them, rather than just using them as plot points for them to witness Jinwoo being him. Yes, a trashy power fantasy needs that type of reaction from other characters, but I feel like most of the relationships that will blossom in the near future, in my opinion, it really wasn't fleshed out to its full potential. It's still good. Having side characters I think does make a show better. I know this is a different genre, but in romance anime, having a solid cast of side characters can really make you more immersed into the show. Of course, some can just have the main two characters, but I feel like having more characters does make you feel something sexually. And that's probably it. Again and again, amazing episode. Hopefully the next episode is a tame one because I want to do other stuff. But yeah, if you guys like this video, leave a like. If you hate it, leave a like. Comment down below what are your thoughts about the episode. And yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. See you guys next time.